Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies as we continue with part 9, The Problem Resolved of the Brotherhood of Man by J.E. Richardson TK. Chapter 9, The Problem Resolved. At this point a question arises which has been asked many times. It is something like this. Suppose the members of the Brotherhood of Man, such as herein defined, should undertake to live their individual lives in obedience to nature's laws, and suppose they do not know many of the laws that are absolutely vital to their success and well-being, both as individuals and as a brotherhood. What then? Is there a sufficient remedy for such a condition as this? Most assuredly. What is it? It is purely educational. In fact, the education of such a brotherhood as we have in mind in a definite knowledge of nature's laws would constitute a complete remedy, and just so far as such education were successfully carried forward. Does not this suggestion carry with it the assurance that education is the one most powerful constructive factor in the perpetuity and continuity of our Brotherhood of Man? Would not that soon become the common and most intense struggle of the members of such a brotherhood, namely, to know the law that they may obey it? What is education? Natural science defines it thus. Education is the process by which the individual acquires a definite knowledge of all the facts of nature in all the realms of human interest, physical, mental, moral, spiritual, and psychical. It is also the accumulated knowledge thus acquired. With this definition impressed on consciousness, it is for all members of the Brotherhood to strive to become educated. There is no greater nor more important work to which they can possibly devote themselves. When it is known that, through education, it is possible for man to advance his knowledge of nature and nature's laws to realms of spiritual life and nature far beyond the limitations of his physical life, one can readily appreciate what a powerful incentive this would be to elevate the standard of education in such an institution to the highest level possible. Permit me to call attention to the fact that, just here in this matter of education, in an exact and definite knowledge of the meaning and application of nature's laws, is one of the vital points wherein the various brotherhoods, so far examined, make a fundamental error. This is in the fact that they do not seem to understand or appreciate that the most powerful and vital interest in which their members is the community of knowledge. This means the community of education. Omit this factor from any brotherhood among mankind, and the vital element upon which its very life and perpetuation depend has been left out. Let us now go back and see how far along we are with the definition of personal responsibility in this connection. Following the analysis as far as we have gone, we find that personal responsibility is the obligation which God or nature fixes upon the individual. But what is that obligation? What does it involve? What does it exact from the individual upon whom it is fixed? Inasmuch as the knowledge of any obligation is the exact and definite knowledge the individual has at any given time of its meaning, and the law of constructive growth is the right use of that knowledge, and nature's purpose is the evolution of the individual intelligence, and the only standard of right use is the full measure of knowledge, which the individual possesses at any given time. Therefore, the obligation which God or nature thus fixes upon the individual is to conform his life to his own standard of equity, justice, and right. Moral accountability is the soul's recognition that there is a moral order in nature, and that the individual intelligence or soul is bound by that moral order to exemplify morality in the living of his life to the full measure of his knowledge. But nature is never unjust. She does not hold any individual personally responsible beyond the measure of his own individual knowledge. His personal responsibility, therefore, is the obligation which God or nature fixes upon him to conform his life to his own standard of equity, justice, and right. Why his own standard? Because for him there is no other. But the process of elimination of the terms defined and the substitution of the definitions of natural science, therefore, we have the following extended definition of the Brotherhood of Man. The exemplification by each individual of a moral order of nature and of the fact that he is bound by the moral law to discharge the obligation which God or nature fixes upon every such member to conform his life to his own standard of equity, justice, and right. Such is the true meaning of the Brotherhood of Man. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.